dominated the world have used money to rule it and have ruled it in their own interest. It looks at a world economic system that has no regard for the poor, that has no regard for the small nations, that has no regard for the poor of the small nations. And the policy is a dignified policy, is not a violent policy, is not a policy of guns. It's a very honorable policy, but it is a very clear policy. It is a policy that calls the poor of the world to stand together, to stand firm together, to struggle together, to struggle for change, to struggle for justice, to struggle through organization, to struggle through will, to struggle through determination, to struggle to build a new kind of world in which your children and mine will walk with more dignity, with better housing, with better opportunity, with better prices, with better response from the World Monetary System. That is the world to which I call you. That is the world for which I struggle, and no power will turn me back from that world. And comrades, if you go and walk with me, if you go and step with me, if you go and move with me, we're moving as warriors. We're moving in determination. We're moving to struggle. We're moving to change that world. No power will turn us back.
Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green, dog. Me no chow chow. No. Ha 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 ho ho. Who you know?
But if change is what we really want to see, ladies and gentlemen, then we must rise up. We must unite. We must advocate. We cannot remain silent. Where are the young men, the young women, the men, the women, the boys, the girls who will put aside political divide and do what is best for Jamaica? Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. Even our pledge, our national pledge, says before God and all mankind, we cannot see a better Jamaica unless we return to the foot of the cross. Jamaica under God must increase in beauty, fellowship and prosperity, and play our part.
If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I said I'm happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his hand. Yes, mommy, I see you. Yes, the journey is almost over. Shut up. And the battle is nearly won. And I have a feeling. I have a feeling in my heart. The best is yet to come. Fly government over there, so wanna ready to get get up now, man. Get up now, man. I feel mad in this place. Let's go. I am happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his. Over there, so I said the journey's almost over. I know the battle is nearly won, and I have a feeling in my heart the best is yet. Come on, sir. I said the best is yet to come. When I walk through heaven's gates, yeah, I said the first time I'll see Jesus, I can hardly wait. And he showed me to a man, son, and said, child, this is your home. And I have a feeling in my heart. You know this one? Listen, tell me who made the angels sing, and tell me who made the joy bells, and tell me who is the King of Kings. Nobody but mine. Come on, try go me. Well, yes, he made the world, he made the sea. Oh, fasten them together with his man, under his control and under his command. Nobody but. Tell me who made the angels sing, and tell me who made the joy bells. Like a bill, emancipate. Said I've got somebody with me.
Oh, you know.
I want to hear the angels singing. I want to be in that number. I want to hear that trumpet song. We have done now. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear archangel. Oh, I want to hear. When my name is called, I want to hear. Everybody know, I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. Watch out now. I want to see the angel marching. I want to be in that number. I want to hear. I want to hear that trumpet song. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear. God bless you now. I want to hear. When my name is called, I want to hear. Everybody do so. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be here. Get something and wave it. Get something and wave it. get something up. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be happy. Walk out, Christian, walk out, Christian. I only live my life to please. Send me rocking for the road and the star on my phone. I only live my life to please. Live up my life. Come on, man, wave that man. Everybody, so. Live up my life. Live for Jesus. This is silent night. What a holy night. But Virgin Mother and Child, holy, so tender. Talk to me now. But sweetly, God bless.
Comrades who are in jungle tonight, on the nose that the word is love. Comrades, me come with a speech, but it's a different speech me have to give tonight. But before I go into that, we have been saying all night that young people know say time come. And I want to bring up a young man who has looked for himself, him read for himself, him search for himself, and when him done, him realize that the only choice he could choose is the People's National Party. And I want to welcome Comrade Perry.
Hold on. We don't have much time. When I say time, you say come. Time. Senator Murray, somebody asked me, Perry, why aren't you a Labourite? Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow. No. Ha, ho. Who ya know? Underpants, Paulo. We the gal in the
Hold on, cut in, man, hold on.
Me coulda never green.
Hold on, no DJ, man, hold on. I don't have much time. The next Prime Minister, let me shake your hand, so big up yourself, Mark Golin, Jensek, and brother, Dayton Campbell Doctor. Listen, in 1938, the People's National Party was formed out of the vision to help the poor people. It was born out of restlessness of the people seeking for better. And I believe that the People's National Party continues to be the answer for the people. Can I hear an amen? Hold on. In 1995, under the auspices of P.J. Patson, the most honorable, there was a revitalization and an extension of the new National Youth Service Program, which gave young people the opportunity to earn commandment church. It gave people the opportunity to better themselves. I don't have much time, but hear what? I hear the other people them say, you must choose Jamaica, but you can't choose Jamaica without choosing the people. God bless you.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow. No. Ha, ho. Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow.
Move your club, comrades.
Comrades, I want to let you know that young man is the former guild president at the University of the West Indies. That is the kind of young people that we attract in the People's National Party.
A corrupt government cannot liberate the people.
if the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer with the political connections instead of benefiting the people. This government has been doing everything it can to weaken and undermine the Integrity Commission, which is an institution that I designed as Minister of Justice and brought the legislation to Parliament to fight corruption in this country. I have said it before and I will tell you again. Jamaica cannot move forward without a government built on integrity that embraces the principles of good governance in this country.
Is your name in the Lamb's Book of Life? Roll call, brother, sister, roll call. Roll call, roll call. There's a meeting up in heaven, roll call. Is your name in the Lamb's Book of Life? Roll call, brother, sister, roll call. Hey, you know your name, I call roll call. You know your name, I call roll call. You know your name, I call. Hey, I mean, you know your name, I call. You know your name, I call. Hey, you know your name, I call. Oh, is the name in the Lamb's Book of Life? Roll call, brother, sister. Mighty God, blessings, blessings. Yes, I am in my orange today. I'm in my orange tonight, ladies and gentlemen, simply because the People's National Party, they've been representing well. You know, like when you're in a sports day, you're at sports day and your house is doing a good job. Yeah, man. For those who say no sound, it must be your device. Please exit and rejoin. If you're hearing me loud and clearly, let me know in the chat. But you should be hearing me, right? On my end, it is good. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, like when you're at sports day, right? And your team doing good. You know, winning all the races. Come on, man. You now go on good, you now win the race. They batten them a pass on properly. And all of them something there. Ladies and gentlemen, I must wear my orange. I must wear my orange tonight, ladies and gentlemen. What you mean? I have to wear my orange tonight.
Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green, dog. Me no chow chow. No. Ha ha ho ho. Who you know?
I want to beat them. PMP, I beat them. Listen, forgive me for my bias. Forgive me for my bias. But everybody is allowed to have a little bias every now and again, you know. Oh, no, I don't. I'm missing something. Ladies and gentlemen, look on my hand. What am I missing? I'm missing something, man. I think I'm missing something. Something no feel too right. Me feel like me no finish. Me no know. Something no right. Something no. Me feel like it's half done. Something is missing. Something is missing. I don't like what something no right. Who can tell you what is missing, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, Carol and Yvonne. God bless you. God bless you. Yeah, man, ladies and gentlemen, I'm missing something, man. I'm missing something. Let me go put on that and come back. Hold on, man. Asuko.
Oh, you know. I want to hear the angels singing. I want to be in that number. I want to hear that trumpet song. We have gone now. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear archangel.
Ladies and gentlemen, we feel much better now. Comrades.
Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow chow. No. Ha 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 ho ho. Who ya know?
I feel much better. I'm feeling very happy. Talking about the good old days. I'm feeling very happy. Talking about, ladies and gentlemen, this is the perspective. I am your host, Perry Cummings Jr. I am in a good mood because as I rewatch Parliament yesterday, I recognize that the opposition is firing on all cylinders. The opposition, ladies and gentlemen, they are doing an awesome job. Come on, like the live, man. Like it and share it. Come on, share it with a friend. Tell a friend to tell it. Come on, let somebody just share the live, like it. Let me tell you something. I always say, listen, me no wait for election time to represent PMP. Yeah? Me no wait for election. You have some comrades, you know, them only put on them orange and them ban when election time. I love the color orange. There's just something about the color orange that, you know, it fits my melanin. I don't know. I'm a happy comrade. I make no apologies for it, but I'm a happy comrade. Yes, sir. That's who put it out. I'm a happy comrade. I'm a happy comrade. So forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me. No, it's not. Yes. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be having Sir Omar Newell at 7 p.m. We're looking forward to that conversation, right? You never know, say orange look good on the melanin. Who never know? There's something about orange, you know, when it touches the chocolate skin. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. You have to understand what I'm saying. There's just something about orange and the melanin. So it's a beautiful color. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we will be having MP Omar Newell, right, coming on. Yes, and we are happy. We will be very happy to have him on. We have a number of things to talk about. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm very excited to hear from him. We'll be having him on at 7 p.m. That's MP from Central St. Mary. So, you know, we're very excited about that. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, man. But I'm, you know, I want to tell somebody that we're living in a time where we must be very vigilant. I want to be very sober tonight because I've been looking at a lot of things and I'm telling you, we have to be very sober. We have to be vigilant. Yesterday, Andrea Burke, the opposition did really well. That's the reason why I have to wear my orange tonight. I'm telling you, did really well and I'm proud of them. Right? Doing really well. A lot of persons may not want to say it, but they are doing really well. Now, not only that, ladies and gentlemen, but you have to be reminded that Dr. Dawes, he has been very firm, very brave in ironing out a few things and airing out a few things too. And I feel the impression on me to just remind you guys of the initial conversation that started the entire conversation. So I'm going to play it as I'm led so persons can just be reminded of what is happening in this country. Right? I see young Jamaica coming out, you know, they're trying a thing. They're trying a thing. But Dr. Dawes continue to advocate. Continue to advocate. All right? Continue to advocate. Don't be distracted. Young Jamaica, you are a shameless group of young people. And as a young person, I'm telling you that. You know why? In the midst of what is happening, instead of coming out to condemn the blatant corruption that is happening at the university hospital up there at Papine, you come out deflecting and trying to play politics. You understand what I'm saying? And it is a disgrace. It is a disgrace. Always playing politics, not seeing the bigger picture.
But I've said it before, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not taking back my words. If it is a case where somebody is guilty, I don't care about your party preference, who you represent, which side of the fence you're on. Wrong is wrong, right is right. But I appreciate Dr. Dawes for standing firm in this season in exposing what has been happening at the University of the West Indies for some time.
Is a release from the People's National Party Media Unit.
This is Dr. Alfred Dawes, Shadow Minister on Health and Wellness. The Auditor General has now confirmed what I have been warning about for over a year. No procurement documents were found for $521 million in contracts awarded by the University Hospital of the West Indies. That is not a clerical error. This is a serious failure of governance. For more than a year, I raised concerns about procurement practices across the Ministry of Health and its agencies. Each time, the minister assured the country that systems were sound and functioning properly. The Auditor General has now shown that this was simply not true. Despite repeated public assurances from Health Minister Christopher Tufton, hundreds of millions of dollars were committed without basic documentation. We saw this after the Integrity Commission exposed the improper $80 million in contracts awarded to Market Me. We saw it again when a $31 million drill for Bustamante Hospital was publicly praised as a model procurement. Yet once more, serious breaches occurred under the minister's watch. This government has been in office for nearly a decade. After 3 consecutive terms, excuses about inherited problems are no longer credible. When procurement fails, hospitals go without equipment. Healthcare workers are left unsupported and patients pay the price. That is how a health system is driven into crisis. A system cannot credibly investigate itself. A committee appointed by the minister to probe the failures he presided over is like a man on trial choosing his own jury. Jamaicans deserve independent scrutiny, real reform, and accountability that puts patients first.
At pnp.org.jm or check us out on Facebook at Jamaica PNP.
Ladies and gentlemen, we must hold those in charge accountable. We cannot allow things to slide in this season. There's just something special about this season. And I want persons to be vigilant. Now I see young Jamaica trying a whole lot of things, And I'm going to simply say this. Let us not lose sight of what is happening in this country. We are experiencing difficult times. Everybody is trying to hopscotch around and try to run away from accountability. Cannot work. Minister Green, it cannot work. Yes, you may not be directly involved in the procurement. Did some research. Permanent secretary is the one to really look at what is happening in terms of procurement and the internal processes, and your role as a minister is mostly policy and representation of the ministry. However, good leaders will still be willing to be held accountable because it is happening under your watch, irregardless. The buck stops with you. So I saw your interview over by Nationwide with Mr. Clifford Hughes. And you're trying to come out now and to deflect and say, well, I mean, you're a big man. If you feel as if any media house maligned your character or spread propaganda on you and you want to take legal action, you're within your right to do so. But don't come out and feel as if persons shouldn't look to you for answers. I am going to use the analogy that I used in times past. If I am the pastor of a church and something happens in my church, in a particular department in the church. You have the brotherhood department, you have the ladies department, you have the youth department, you have different departments in church, ladies and gentlemen. You know that you have the administrative arm of the church. Now, if I'm the pastor and something happened in a particular department in my church, as the pastor, it is not unfair for people to say, Pastor Perry Cummings, what happened at your assembly? I can't come out as a pastor and say, oh, because I'm not the one directly in charge of the department. That's the reason why. Huh? I shouldn't be held accountable. What type of nonsense is that? Where did we get that from? So what I've been seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is just a lot of persons trying to avoid being held accountable. And it is a shame and a disgrace. And when you look at even young Jamaica, young people, right? Young people coming out now and trying to deflect and trying to avoid scrutiny. Because of what? Because you're not playing politics, and because you're an affiliate of the Jamaica Labour Party, and because things are looking bad for this administration right now, you want to come out and play politics? It's a shame and a disgrace. You understand what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? It is a shame and a disgrace, and I cannot imagine that we've descended to a place like this. We're having MP Newell coming on soon, but let's talk about a few things. St. James policeman accidentally shoots himself. My God. We hope that he's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, look at what is happening in our country. Accidentally shoots himself. My God. We have to now reconsider what is really happening in the JCF. Not only are we seeing the increase in police fatal shootings, but now police officer is shooting himself. What type of trust should I have in some of these people, ladies and gentlemen? It is alarming. How did this happen? How did it happen? We hope that he's okay, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm just putting it out there. We need a serious... Listen, I'm not laughing at it, you know. I don't want anybody to laugh. Please, it's not a laughing matter, because this could have been a fatal... I don't want anybody to laugh. It's not anything funny. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm just trying to communicate something. We've seen an increase in police shootings, fatal shootings. And a lot of persons are coming out, right, to defend the JCF and the security apparatus, saying that it is only criminals who are dying at the hands of the police. That is the furthest thing from the truth, ladies and gentlemen. That is not true. Right? Yes, Rodney, I believe accidents do happen. We're not blaming him for shooting himself. That's not what we're doing. But I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, when you see things like these happening, it makes you wonder. But it is sad. I hear people coming out and saying that the police fatal shootings, all of them are criminals. And I'm still asking the question, without any response though, was the 4-year-old a criminal? What crime did the 4-year-old commit? I see some people on social media, ladies and gentlemen, they're telling me that murders are different from police fatal shootings. I don't know what to think about that though, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. They say that one is legal and one is illegal. That's what I hear some labor rights saying. That police fatal shooting is not murder. I don't know how to feel about that. But that is what labor rights are saying right now. That you have to differentiate it. Mighty God of Daniel, help me now, man. Help me, Jesus. Help me. Police commissioner rejects claims of resistance to body-worn cameras. But a lot of persons were saying that, hey, Jamaica isn't ready for body-worn cameras, Mr. Commissioner. And a lot of the reason why, one of the reasons why a lot of persons are even saying that you and others are saying that you guys are rejecting the body-worn cameras is because of how long you guys took to roll it out. People have been advocating for body cameras a long time. I've heard labor rights say very strong that Jamaica is not ready for body-worn cameras. Why not? Why not? But pressure is reaching JCF, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to say this. I am not going to come on the perspective and make it seem as if we don't have good police officers. That is not what I'm communicating. We have good police officers in our country. Let me make that abundantly clear. But there is this reluctance, police commissioner. If you didn't know, we will tell you. There is this reluctance from a lot of your troops, a lot of your colleagues, when it comes to this body-worn camera business. Nobody wants to know that what they're doing can be recorded. You understand what I'm saying? And you have to take that into consideration. Why did it take so long for us to get the body-worn cameras? It is not looking good, ladies and gentlemen. And we have to look at it from a very objective standpoint. And we have a lot of questions to ask, Because guess what? There are questions about whether or not these body-worn cameras can be tampered with. Will they be tampered with? Will they even be worn? Is it enough to just say that the police officers got 1,000 body-worn cameras? Who will wear them? How often will they wear them? Can they be tampered with? Who will be monitoring the cameras? Those are the questions that we are going to be asking. Whether you like it, yes or no. You're not above scrutiny. And this is the problem that I'm having. And it is stemming from the head right down. Some people in this country, ladies and gentlemen, believe that they're above scrutiny. Nobody can't hold them accountable. Nobody is above the law and above criticism. Everybody should be willing to be held accountable in this country. So if you're rejecting claims of resisting to body-worn cameras, police commissioner, get 1,000 more. 1,000 more is needed. We want more body-worn cameras then. Show us that you're serious about this thing. Show us that you want police officers to be held accountable. Show us that you guys not hiding anything. Show us that we don't have criminals in police uniforms. Show us that you guys are here to serve and protect instead of driving fear into the citizens. Show us that you guys willing to come clean. What happened to the young man at Cherry Tree Lane? Nothing about the 4-year-old that was murdered. Labor rights will say it's not murder. My God, define murder, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah? Define murder, ladies and gentlemen. It is a shame and a disgrace. It is a shame and a disgrace. We are bordering the lines, ladies and gentlemen, of lawlessness, anarchy, chaos. That is what we're going to descend into if we're not careful. As I said before, ladies and gentlemen, Parliament was good yesterday. Parliament was good yesterday. Really enjoyed it. You know that persons are saying that one of the big things that the labor rights are saying now, and what they're trying to drive home, right, is that murders are down by 45% so far this year. This is what this Andrew Holness-led administration refuses to do. Number one, nobody is against murder going down in this country. If I ever hear a PNP come out and even insinuate, even in the slightest, that they are against murder going down in this country, I will reprimand them. Because every PNP supporter wants a peaceful Jamaica. How do I sound tonight, ladies and gentlemen? every Jamaican who loves Jamaica, right, will advocate for murder going down. My problem is, ladies and gentlemen, is that on the flip side of the coin, you have heads and you have tail. On the other side of the coin, you have some police officers in this country who are abusing the power that they have. They should be serving and protecting. And instead of that, we've been seeing a lot of shady operations in this country. And it's not just today. It's happening long time. This administration boasts that they have invested heavily in our security, in our police officers, in our police stations. I have no problem with that. But if the investment in our police officers is not only to reduce crime or murders, but to also shed innocent blood, I have a problem with that. So don't try and go on a rant about reduction in murder. Yes, we hear that and we welcome that. How about addressing the very serious concerns about the 300% increase in fatal police shooting? That is what I'm yet to hear this administration address. That's what we want to hear, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we want to hear. Nobody is willing to address that. Nobody is willing to say anything. And that for me is concerning. Yesterday in Parliament was good. Remember that we have an interview with MP Omar Newell at 7 p.m. And we want persons to tune in, share the live, ladies and gentlemen. Share the live. We want to have a wonderful discussion. So far, we have interviewed Dr. Norman Grant, former senator. You know Dr. Grant's expertise in agriculture and the coffee industry. He was our first guest on The Perspective, right? Then somebody said that The Perspective just went straight to the top. We had a wonderful conversation 6 days ago with comrade leader, president of the People's National Party, leader of the opposition, Mr. Mark Jefferson Golding, the integrity boss. My God, and what a conversation we had. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we will be hearing from Mr. Newell. I like to say all is well with Newell. I hope he uses that sometime in the future. But all is well with Newell. And let me tell you this. I'm expecting a wonderful conversation tonight. I got tentative confirmations from Dr. Dawes. Next week, all being well, we will be hearing from Dr. Dawes. And trust me, The Perspective wants to hear what is happening. Yes, we've been tuning into the episodes on the YouTube channel for the People's National Party. We've been sharing some of these episodes over here as well. But we want to have a one-on-one, a sit-down, dive a little deeper, Dr. Dawes. We want to dive a little deeper with you. So tentatively, he has agreed. I will confirm all of that by the end of this week. It seems as if Wednesdays are a good... Wednesday seems to be a good time for interviews. I don't know. Everybody seems to be available for Wednesday. So the best is yet to come. But ladies and gentlemen, there is a major concern because, Parliament was so good yesterday. Opposition raises red flags over proposed changes to FID Act. All I'll say is this. What is the FID Act? The FID Act's primary objective of the FID Act is to, first of all, with authority and independence to lead Jamaica's fight against financial crime. Now, it is very important, ladies and gentlemen, that we have certain policies in place. We must be able to protect the people of this country, we must guard ourselves against financial crimes, whether small or great. We must put a safeguard mechanism so that the people of this country can see value for money, and we won't create a place, a breeding ground for corruption. When I see this administration, right, trying to propose changes to the FID Act, you have to raise red flags, of course. Because the FID Act, ladies and gentlemen, the key functions under the FID Act, right? And FID is simply the Financial Investigations Division, right? It investigates all categories of financial crimes, including fraud, money laundering, and related offenses, collecting and analyzing financial information and intelligence on suspicious financial activity, maintaining intelligence database on financial crime, trends, and cases, sharing information with relevant Jamaican authorities like police, Director of Public Prosecutions, corruption prevention bodies, and cooperating with foreign agencies where appropriate. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to what I'm saying. This act is very important. Now, this administration, ladies and gentlemen, the Andrew Holness-led administration, want to bring changes to the act. You understand what I'm saying? Why? Why? Is it that something is coming that we don't know about, ladies and gentlemen? Because remember, prophetically a certain Rasta man flashed him locks 2 times and told them this.
One by one, who no go into jail. One by who no go into. One by.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me have a conversation with you. I wonder if somebody smelled the rat. I wonder if something is upon the horizon. I wonder if something is in the distance, ladies and gentlemen. I wonder if something is coming that they're trying to protect themselves against. I'm just saying. Recently, the government has raised proposals to bring changes to the act. While the government defends these reforms, some lawmakers and groups have raised concerns, including that safeguards around personal data and oversight might be weakened if the FID can share information more freely without ministerial oversight. That certain language in the amendments could be ambiguous or broad, potentially creating legal uncertainties. Some business and civil society voices have questioned other aspects, such as changes to leadership requirements or transparency around appointments within FID. And you know that this administration has a tendency of changing qualifications to suit people. You know, I'm just putting that out there. Now, the overall context is simply this. These changes are a part of a broader push by the government to modernize Jamaica's legal frameworks for financial regulation and crime prevention, which also appears in recent fiscal policy papers outlining legislative priorities. This is what this administration is going to say, that it is all about strengthening the legal framework. Ladies and gentlemen, can you trust this government? That's all I'm going to ask. Can you trust this administration? That's the question that I'm going to... I was on a platform last night, and somebody told me that one of the reasons, a labor right said, Perry, one of the reasons why the Prime Minister didn't want to include the leader of the opposition to be a part of NARA is because they cannot trust Mark Golin. So who trusts this? Who trusts this administration? Now let me ask let me ask persons on the live tonight. Do you trust the Andrew Holness-led administration? You trust them? To this date, we don't even have the opposition being a part of the national oversight body that they claim supposed to be leading this grand effort to relieve the people after this hurricane. They don't have the decency to even find a place and put a representative, not even the leader of the opposition. We're going to come and talk about trust. Where is the trust factor with this administration? So many scandals. You'd call this, you would think that this government is a scandal bag. The amount of scandals, too many to name, under this administration. We're not even talking about JLP overall. Let's talk about this administration alone. Usher them out now, man.
Microphone and usher him out. Take his microphone and usher him out. Take his microphone. Just a minute. Just a minute. Take his microphone. Usher him out. Take his microphone and usher him out. Take his microphone. Usher him out. Usher him out. Usher him out. Usher him out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're living in serious times. People are trying to weaken. And you know, Mr. Golden said it. It's not the first time we've seen this administration try to weaken institutions that were implemented to protect the people and to fight against crime and corruption. It's not the first time. It's not the first time we've seen it. Remember that the same Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, tried to strike out a section out of the report. You remember that? And a lot of persons roll back the curtains of memories now and then. Show me where you've brought me from and where I could have been. Remember, I'm human and humans forget. So remind me, dear Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to talk about. There are some other serious concerns, ladies and gentlemen. Listen.
An Auditor General's report published last week has raised serious concerns about governance at the University Hospital of the West Indies. The report found that over several years, the hospital abused its tax-exempt status, costing the country millions of dollars in lost revenue. It also identified repeated breaches of procurement guidelines and noted that audited financial statements and annual reports were not submitted for 6 consecutive years. Principal Director of National Integrity Action, Dr. Gavin Myers, says the findings point to deep systematic failures.
If we accept that the integrity of the Auditor General is unquestioned, then we have to accept that this report shows that there are egregiousness of the systems that were in place. And with that, we should be focused on what should happen next. Because we'd expect now that we speak about the role of the boards, the formation of the boards, and the need for accountability. And if this is a board failure, then we would expect that the board would do the work and go. And the parameters for the work to ensure transparency and accountability is put in place.
Dr. Myers warns that the implications goes far beyond UHWI and affect Jamaicans island-wide.
Let's say you're from Kilmarnock in the border of St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, and you are at the health center nearest, which is, you're at the nearest health center. It is 100% certain that the doctor that will see you there was trained at the University Hospital. And even more, if you ever are involved in any form of hospital-related or health-related illness, you will need to be a part of this system that the University Hospital sits at the apex.
In response to the report, the hospital board says it has begun a comprehensive review of its procurement systems. The Ministry of Health has also established an institutional review committee. But Dr. Myers insists that reform must be matched with real accountability.
We need to ask about the formation of boards. We need to ask about how it is that these boards will moving forward, hold things in account.
The Ministry of Health says the Institutional Review Committee is expected to submit its findings within 4 months, after which recommendations for reform are to be made public. Reporting for ZVM News, I'm Giovanni Hamilton.
Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of things happening in this country. You know, there's a case, ladies and gentlemen, that a lot of you are familiar with. And, you know, I'm not the type of person to come and just talk about something that I don't know the intricacies of. But I wanted to play this so that you guys can just get a perspective as to what is really happening with this particular case. We're going to be having MP Omar Newell very soon. But listen this.
Still on the crime scene, presiding judge in the murder trial of Noel Maitland began summing up the case this afternoon and is to continue in the Home Circuit Court on Thursday. The prosecution addressed the jury yesterday, while Mr. Maitland's attorney Christopher Townsend completed his today. More in this report from Raquel Porter.
If the puzzle don't fit, you must acquit. That line echoed through the courtroom as Noel Maitland's attorney, Christopher Townsend, delivered his closing address to the jury. Mr. Townsend challenged the prosecution's case, which relied heavily on circumstantial evidence likened by the Crown to a jigsaw puzzle with no missing pieces. During his nearly 2-hour submission, he urged the jury, which consists of 4 men, to rely on their own life experiences when weighing the evidence. Mr. Townsend said he had seen situations where a man maintained relationships with 2 women who both knew about each other. According to him, that's a real thing in the streets. Mr. Townsend reminded jurors that the burden of proof rests entirely with the Crown and must meet the standard of being sure of guilt. He stressed that even if they believed Mr. Maitland knew about the crime but did not commit it, their verdict must be not guilty. He emphasized that the burden never shifted to Mr. Maitland and that his client had nothing to prove. Mr. Townsend told jurors that once they had any doubt, they were obligated to return a not guilty verdict. He also cautioned them against allowing emotion to influence their decision, referencing the emotional testimony of Donnelly's mother. Jurors, he said, must assess the demeanor of each witness and consider whether they were truthful or had something to hide. Mr. Townsend told jurors that the prosecution is asking them to infer death without a body. He compared the case to chickens disappearing from a locked coop after a mongoose was found with feathers on its mouth. Mr. Townsend argued that the prosecution's own evidence shows Donnelly was not in the cage. One of Donnelly's friends testified that when she called her minutes after 1 p.m. on July 12, she heard traffic, adding that a cyber forensic expert explained that Miss Donaldson's cell phone pinged on a cell tower that was 400 meters away from the apartment, pointing out that Miss Donaldson is an influencer and they don't leave their phones. Stressing that Donnelly was outside of the apartment, Mr. Townsend urged the jury not to allow anyone to take them for a fool. Mr. Townsend said Donnelly's mother spoke positively of his client's character and noted that Mr. Maitland had checked on her while she was ill overseas. He added that in a surprise to the prosecution, Mr. Maitland's father testified that Donnelly's mother told him during a taxi ride that she did not believe his son killed her daughter, though she felt he knew something. Mr. Townsend argued that if the Crown's primary witness did not believe Mr. Maitland was the killer, how the prosecution expects the jury to believe. Raquel Porter, reporting for TVJ News.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll simply say this. Let us just pray that justice will prevail. And where we need, sometimes I look at these things in the media and I said, my God. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are at a place in our country where a lot of things are happening. At the political level, definitely right across several institutions. We've seen several ministries being flagged by the Auditor General. But I did promise you guys that we would have a wonderful discussion tonight. And we've been having a series of interviews. And I want to tell you that tonight will be no different. We'll be having another wonderful interview very, very soon. When I talk to him, I say all is well with Newell. I don't know. It sounds right. It sounds like, I hope he'll use it in the future. But it's a nice thing to say. But ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Omar Anthony Newell, yes, born and raised in St. Mary, as the first child of Lord Newell and Lonnie Vassell, passed the common entrance exam at age 10 and attended St. Mary High School before moving to live with his grandmother in Portland, transferring to Titchfield High School. Big up Titchfield High School, any Titchfield people on the live. I know, big up on yourself. He holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from Monroe College in New York, graduating top of his class. So you should know that Mr. Newell is no back of the class person, is no back of the class we are talking about. You understand what I'm saying? Earned a Jewish doctor law degree from Northwestern University School of Law in Chicago, USA. His professional career. Early career included work as a warehouse supervisor, direct sales, and as a teller at the National Housing Trust. Entered media as a radio broadcaster, hosting programs and appearing as a commentator on outlets including WBEZ, Chicago Public Radio, and so on. I could go on and on. But you know, active in the People's National Party, youth affiliate, the Patriots, elected General Secretary and later President. In 2023, won the PNP nomination for the St. Mary Central seat. Listen to me now, man. So much. And you all know that he's the current MP for Central St. Mary when he won in 2025 in the general election. He serves as a voice, though, for rural development, transparency, equity, and innovation, and has taken roles such as the PNP's junior spokesperson on commerce, science, and technology. In 2026, January this year, he tabled a private members' motion in Parliament to strengthen legal protections for Jamaica's critical utility infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Mr. Omar Newell. Blessings to you, sir.
Thank you for having me, Perry. Good evening to your listeners. I hope you're hearing me clearly.
Yes.
I had a very busy day in the constituency today. I'm actually talking to you from a street side in Highgate. But,
yes,
you know, the work goes on. I had office day today. Then I had some farm visits and a meeting with the National Works Agency. So we're getting some stuff done. So pardon me if it is a little noisy from time to time in the background.
That's all right, Mr. Newell. We understand that as an MP, you have to be on the ground. You have to be working on behalf of the people that you represent. Mr. Newell, just tell us a little bit about yourself. What has your experience been, you know, in Parliament, and who are you outside of being MP?
Well, I was a bit intimidated when you asked me to tell about myself because you did such a good job. I was listening to the introduction. I am much of what you said. I'm also the husband of Dr. Norden Newell and the father of Leonard Anthony, a bright 10-year-old boy who sees himself as a future football star or attorney at law.
Oh.
Son of the soil. I love music. In fact, I ended the day playing dominoes with Yaxter, who is one of my voters. I love a good game of dominoes.
All right.
Agriculture is one of the things I grew up in and that I love. Love family, you know, the outside of politics thing. Beyond that, I came back home in 2012 with a view that I could make a difference and be a voice in Parliament. And I've been working to do so since I was sworn in on the 18th of September, 2025.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Newell. You mentioned your involvement being on the ground in your constituency, playing dominoes. Mr. Newell, don't say you can play dominoes and then know if we buck you know when we play domino, you get 6, love. So please.
Well, the mark of a good domino player is that you can get 6 and you can give 6. I mean,
all right, I love that.
I don't think there's any good domino player without blemish.
All right, good.
You'd have to come good.
Thank you for that, Mr. Newell. You know, primarily we want to talk to you about the private members motion that you moved this year I want you just to tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind that. What really fueled the drive in that direction, and how could this really and truly impact Jamaica in a positive way? Let's start there.
So in 2012, when I moved back home for good, I delivered some laptop computers to Hillside Primary School in Islington. I was able to raise them from Monroe University, where I attended, as well as in partnership with Team Jamaica Bickle. Big up Erwin Clear.
Big
And
up.
in my handover speech, I remember telling the students that if the internet is the superhighway, then data is pretty much the toll that you pay to be on that highway. You know, just the importance of connectivity. And over that was 13, 14 years ago. Over that period of time, we have grown even more connected as a nation and as a globe. To the point where if there's no data connectivity at your healthcare facilities, it impacts your ability to deliver quality care to your patients. If you have no data connectivity at your police station, it impacts the ability of the police to efficiently do what they're required to do. We have grown very dependent on the modern technology available to us, and oftentimes those require the fastest of technology. At PAAC in, I think it was in November, we had the two major telecoms visit, and they spoke about the challenge they were having with people vandalizing their utility, their network, their fiber network, and just their cable network on a whole. And in some subsequent conversation, they identified, good evening, they identified a pattern, which is people were cutting pieces of the cable and throwing it to the side of the road. And when I asked why were they doing that, they were doing it because they wanted to check whether it had copper or anything valuable that they could sell. Now, when these people were brought to books, these people were vandalizing the network, they were fined sometimes a few $100,000 Jamaican dollars or less for vandalizing hundreds of thousands of US dollars worth of infrastructure. Now, even though these are infrastructure of a private company, as I outlined earlier, these have national implications.
Yes.
After Melissa, there was also an incident in St. Anne where someone chopped down a utility pole, and that brought a community into darkness. And it had me doing some research. And when I looked, I realized in doing my research that the water network is another network that you would want to have considered as critical infrastructure, because there are significant vulnerabilities with your pipe network. Somebody can compromise the entire country and entire community by compromising your distribution, your production and distribution of water. And so the idea behind the bill, well, the idea behind the private members motion, which at some point may become a private members bill, is that these infrastructure, even though in the case of the telecoms and the utility are primarily privately owned, they're so critical nationally that we both need the operators to take certain precautions, and we need the government to put certain things in place to ensure that the punishment is sufficient a deterrent. And if people don't take it as a deterrent, then the punishment will be commensurate with the crime.
Thank you for that, Mr. Newell. And you've done a good job in explaining to us the importance of making a correlation between national interest, though these damages may be to private institutions. You made the connection in letting us know that, listen, when you damage these things, it has implications, right, on a national level. And I think that is so important for us to understand. But as it relates
and for your listeners, Perry, think about it this way. Let's say Perry Cummings production gets an opportunity to shoot a scene in a movie in Hollywood. and you have a deadline by which you must make an upload. But somebody down the road decided that he wanted to explore, went on a voyage to see whether he could find some copper cables and cuts the line. Well, that studio in Hollywood is not going to wait 2 days or 3 days just because you have some challenges where you are. So it has real life consequences and real life effects.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Newell. As it relates to, destroying some of these things that are so very important to us, do you think that there is a culture, though, of vandalism in Jamaica where over time we've been seeing these things happening over and over? Do you think there's a cultural issue at play here that we may need to even address in depth?
I'm not clear if it is. I'm not clear how much I would classify it as a cultural issue. There are some people, for example, who say there are more Jamaican-born Jamaicans in the diaspora than in Jamaica. But when we go into these places that have the necessary legislation and enforcement, we don't hear high incidences of vandalism. And one of the things the resolution asked is that we review just the industries that incentivize these kinds of behavior. So the scrap metal industry, for example, we review it and we take a look at if somebody is dealing with in scrap metal, what do they need to do? In agriculture in the US, you have a lot of laws that speak to traceability. Maybe we need to establish traceability for scrap metal so people know that you can't just grab something on the side of the road and bring it in and have no explanation for where you got it.
Thank you so much for that as
So
well.
I don't think it is cultural. I think the enforcement is low, and so the opportunity cost of doing it is pretty low. Your risk of being caught is pretty low, and when you're caught, the punishment is pretty low.
Yeah, so it's really wanting teeth to be, in some of the punishments that would love to see happening, right?
And these crimes of opportunity, you have to increase the opportunity cost.
That's
you have
so
to make
true.
it, yes.
Yes, that's so true. Mr. Newell, you are fairly young. I think it's safe for us to say that Mr. Newell, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Newell is a young man.
Yeah, if my son is watching, he'll disagree. But other than that, I think it's accepted that I'm young.
Yes. How would you make a connection between the future of young people and the passing of this private members motion, if it should be, it becoming a bill as well? Do you believe that this could definitely provide a safer environment in terms of infrastructure for these things and young people? How could you make a correlation between young people and a motion like this?
Well, when your telecoms are spending upwards of $10 million US per year to replace damaged cable network, one can only think of the additional investment that they would be able to do. They'd be freed up to be able to do if you reduce this significantly or eliminate it. So I think it, based on my conversations with the head of at least one of the telecoms, I think it can contribute to some employment creation, but it can also contribute indirectly to employment creation. So if you had faulty internet where you are, you wouldn't be able to produce this lovely program as often as you're able to.
Yes.
And we're in the era of the gig economy. A lot of our young people make money online, and their data is what they rely on for their livelihood. I remember talking to a young man from a neighboring constituency during the election, and he pointed out to me some of the challenges that he was having, such as a TikToker, that he sometimes had difficulty explaining his income and that kind of thing. I'm not going to go down that road, but what I'll say is the ability to earn online gets significantly compromised if you don't have the means of getting online. Right? And so a lot of young people who, whether they're producers of content or they're consumers of content, they would readily appreciate what it means to not be able to tap into high-speed internet. And the internet, just on a whole, it makes life easier. You rush to an emergency room, a doctor can be more efficient by being able to triage and enter online so that the doctor at the next stage can know, that you're coming through and whatever.
Yeah, that's actually very true. And as a young man myself, I have found a lot of benefits in having internet because there's absolutely nothing wrong with having access to good internet, but it's what you use it to do. But my question to you now, Mr. Newell,
yes,
are there any concerns as it relates to involvement of internet in our education system? I know you're not really from that ministry per se, but
yeah.
as a person who is an advocate for good quality internet and technology, are there any concerns that you have?
So, I mean, we have to put in guardrails where the use of technology is concerned, but it's not something we can run away from. It's something we have to embrace. So in China, for example, AI is integrated in the curriculum from, I would want to say preschool, but certainly at the start of the primary school level.
Wow.
In private schools in Jamaica, in some instances, technology is very well woven, very integrated. Now the internet has created a flat world. You're not competing, a child from St. Mary's no longer just competing with a guy from Portland for opportunities. You're competing with people from Europe, Asia, all across the globe. And so if we don't get our people to be early adopters to technology that is available, of course in a responsible way, but if we don't get them to be early adopters, then we're going to be left behind. That gap between wealthy countries and poorer countries and developed countries and less developed countries is just going to continue to widen. So as leaders, our responsibility is to look at what is going on across the globe, assess it, and see how we can apply it based on our local realities. I'm not advocating for a wholesale adaptation of everything. What I'm advocating for is ensuring that our people are the most competitive and our educational environment is of such that it ensures that we produce people, citizens, who are competitive globally. So with that said, I'm a proponent of technology in school and and of mainstreaming it. My son has the best technology that we can afford available to him, and it is deliberately so. And we do it in a responsible way. He has an iPad that he can go on, but it has sufficient parent control. So we're able to monitor how much screen time he is able to get. We're able to monitor who can communicate with him. We're able to monitor what kind of apps he can download and what he can, what spaces in certain apps he can visit. So once the guardrails are in, we have to embrace the technology.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Newell. Ladies and gentlemen, you hear the parent in Mr. Newell coming out on our program tonight. And it's so true. We do need, parents to be parents. Don't allow our children to be grown on social media and they are being parented by so-called influencers. Sometimes they don't even know what they are being influenced to do. But we're going to take a quick break and come back. We're going to talk more with MP Newell as relates to his experience as a member of parliament. We're gonna come back with that. All right, soon come.
And Pearl Therapy, we are here to help you to bring ultimate relaxation to your feet. Our hot stone, Swedish, and deep tissue massage services are here to help you to get rid of tensions, minor swellings, and aches and pain, increase flexibility and circulation. If you are having any heart or circulatory diseases, then this might not be for you. Reach out to us and let's see if you can secure yourself with a foot massage for as low as $4,500. Thank you for choosing Pearl Therapy, the healing hub. Food is designed to be felt, not just tasted. Soft warmth, gentle richness, a harmony that melts effortlessly on the tongue. At Cummings Exquisite Caterers, every dish is an invitation, guided by passion, finished with elegance. We cater for life's most meaningful moments, elegant weddings, private celebrations, and much more. With a serene repast center, just 10 minutes away from two major cemeteries. We are located at 38 Joe Blaine Spanish Town Road. Reach out to us, 876-573-9124. Cummings Exquisite Caterers, where desire meets dining.
Gentlemen, welcome back. This is The Perspective. I'm your host, Perry Cummings Jr., and I'm here with MP Omar Newell, right out of Central St. Mary. He told us that he just finished interacting with the people in his constituency. Him just finished playing domino. I hope him never get the 6 love, but you know, any good domino player, you must get 6 at least one time in your life. So we're happy to hear from Mr. Newell. He touched on some very important points, strengthening the consequences for persons who do oftentimes vandalize important infrastructure that has a great impact on our telecommunication systems. He touched on the scrap metal industry, how we can, regulate that, how we can strengthen the laws. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, when I did the reading, the motion really and truly, and so important right now, ladies and gentlemen, the private members motion, in a nutshell, is really to implement modern, comprehensive laws to create and to foster safer communities and to build a stronger, more resilient Jamaica. And I could not disagree with something as important as that. But Mr. Newell, you are the member of parliament for Central St. Mary. And we've been seeing you in parliament, sir, being very firm. You're one of the voices that persons, go to parliament to listen. And we've seen last year, you took a very firm stance against some things in parliament, as it relates to, finance. What has your experience been in terms of an MP in parliament and what you've been hearing from the government? What are your experiences like so far?
So Perry, I went into parliament because I wanted to be a voice, a representative. It's difficult to represent when you're silent. And so from day one, I knew that my people had to be assured that their perspectives were being brought to the parliament, which is why we're doing so much publicity around our Constituency Development Fund consultation, which will be next week, Thursday at 5 p.m. at St. Mary High School. Free plug. I think sometimes viewers might have a little bit of confusion. So when I go to parliament and I represent, I don't know if the electrician behind me is licensed, but I'm getting some electricity. Yes, I'm getting some light. I don't know if people who view the parliament understand. When I go to parliament and I ask questions, it's never from a malicious position. Yes, I get some light. It's never from a position of malice. It is generally for clarification, or if it is that I see something that is either confusing or doesn't make sense, and I distinguish between the two, then I will raise questions about it in the parliament. There are a number of concerns and challenges that I have with how our parliament is structured. And this isn't a partisan comment. This is my first term in parliament. One is your ability to raise questions is constrained by the willingness of a minister to make statements. So I would, for example, love to raise hell about the state of the roads in my constituency, but I have to wait until there's a constituency debate, because sometimes I'll ask questions on a matter and people will say, but what about the roads? Well, I can't ask a question about the roads unless the Minister of Works goes to Parliament with a presentation about the roads. I can't ask a question about water unless the Minister of Water asks a question about water. I think our Parliament is too dominated by the executive. and it hardly has its own personality as the legislative branch of government. So in the UK, for example, there are a number of days per year that are dedicated to the minority parties, where they get an opportunity to lead on questions and to lead on debates, private members, motions, etc. A number of days. I can't recite the number now, but when I sat down one day thinking about how broken I thought our parliament was and how limited or how limiting it is to the opposition and to backbenchers. And in doing my research, I saw a number of models where the minority parties are given fewer days than the government parties, but a few days to set the agenda of the parliament. I also believe and again, this is not from a malicious standpoint, but
Not
based
at all.
on my observation, I wonder whether the speaker has read up on other great speakers globally to get a good understanding of the role of the speaker. My understanding is that the speaker should be a referee. But oftentimes, the speaker seems to be one of the players on the field. What I note from some democracies, such as, I think it's Australia, it might be Australia or New Zealand, where the Speaker of the House is generally required to resign from the sitting party. And in order to protect the Speaker is usually not challenged in the next election. So by law, the Speaker is generally allowed to run back unopposed. So if you take decisions that your party don't like, then you don't have to worry about your party removing you. And you don't have to worry about being challenged for the next election. And I'm wondering if now we're at a point in our democracy where we need to start looking at how do we give more voice to the minority party in the parliament, and how do we ensure we have a speaker that has the necessary protections so that they can feel the need to be unbiased. Those are two of the challenges. Now, you have very few private members' motions in Parliament because the chances of a private member's motion being debated, and a private member's motion is simply a motion that is moved by somebody other than the minister. So this is something that Darrell Vaz or Matthew Samuda could have brought to Parliament, but because it was brought by me, a non-executive member, it is a private member's motion. But we need more of that. We need more robust debate in the Parliament.
Yes.
And there isn't much space for that because governments are afraid of being embarrassed. And so in our tradition, governments try to find as many opportunities as possible to silence opposition. But we shouldn't. We're better when we have different views and perspectives heard. Yesterday, I heard the opposition leader, for example, make a point in terms of an amendment to the FAA legislation that the minister should look at removing the cap of I think it was 10 billion Jamaican dollars. And it was a sensible proposal. But the fact that it came from the opposition, it is as if the government felt that they had a responsibility to argue against it. And we need to move the Parliament to a point where we're as productive as when Norman Manley was leader of the opposition. And his points, I don't know if it's because Bustamante recognized the superiority of Norman Manley, but a lot of the motions and contributions he made, they were allowed to carry. That is my feedback in brief on my time in the Parliament.
But you see, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Newell, we would have hoped that you would have had a better first time as MP in Parliament, but it is so unfortunate that is one of your first observations. And trust me, we've been seeing it. Right. But one of the things that stood out to us on your part, Mr. Newell, was when you asked some critical questions to the Minister of Finance. Right. That was a big thing on social media, man. Mr. Newell, walk us again. What really happened and
What was it that you were trying to get out of the Minister of Finance?
And it's a lot because some of the conversations started from the um, PAAC, PAAC's review of the supplementary budget. And when the minister came to Standing Finance Committee, I was of the view that she would have come a little bit more prepared than she was. And again, I never meant to be uncharitable, but even I can be frustrated. And some of my frustrations came out because you're asking the minister questions that I thought she should have had the answers to. So in this instant, the one that went viral, the minister the previous week spoke to, and with some level of certainty, that there were some loans from the multilaterals, that this 150 million US dollar loan that was made to JPS by the government, that they would have been able to recoup based on some loans that the multilaterals would have provided, including to JPS. When the financial secretary came to the PAAC, her arguments were different from the minister. So the minister came to Parliament with a level of certainty. But when we went to PAAC, the financial secretary was unable to confirm that there was in fact any funds available to JPS. When the minister came to Standing Finance Committee, she dialed back what she had said the prior week in Parliament. But because it was of concern to me, and because I believe the country looking on should be able to take what people say in the Parliament as fact, I thought it necessary to get my hands on what she said the week before and to bring it to the Parliament. And so what came out is that the minister was more wishful than she was speaking from her wish rather than facts.
From facts.
And in essence, she really misled the House because she gave the impression that a matter was secure and, came the following week less certain that this would have taken place. So that is really what that clip captured. So the clip captured a moment, but that was the build-up.
That was the build-up to the moment. Mr. Newell, we have you until about 7:40, 7:45 thereabouts. So we're almost out of time. But what is the one thing that you'd love to see this government address quickly?
No, I need this government to be less tribal.
My God.
We had an election on September 3rd. And I campaigned very hard. And I went across the country. I went to Hanover. I went to Trelawney. I went to in St. Anne. I went all over the country campaigning with the objective of ensuring that the People's National Party would form the government. We did not get the result we wanted. The government of the day is the government of the day. I'm a part of the legislative branch of the government.
Yes.
I don't need to agree with everything the government comes with. But just because I disagree with a matter, it doesn't mean that it comes from a bad place or a malicious place. In fact, I am one of maybe 2 or 3 members of parliament on the opposition side who, whenever the government comes to the parliament with something that we believe is reasonable and makes sense, I've gotten up and I've said, Prime Minister, I understand the significant challenge that you and your administration would be faced with coming out of a Category 5 hurricane. I've got up and I've said, Minister Samuda, you're looking to replant the forests. You can count on my side for every support. There's no objection there. In fact, the only thing I'll point out is you want to ensure that you don't disturb local ecosystems. So a place where the birds who eat there generally eat mango, don't plant pear tree.
Yes, that's true.
I have, every time there is an opportunity, but I've observed that anytime we are opposed to a matter, the government operates as if they're entitled to our support. And I won't call names, but you have certain ministers of government who, when they come to the parliament, the level of arrogance is as if
My
you are
God.
not allowed to ask a question. How dare you? And
How
so
dare you?
when member Campbell got up last week, Tuesday, and spoke to the fact that even though the government claimed that they were doing certain things, there was not a single household in his constituency that had electricity.
My
And
God.
the minister had to walk back his statement at his post-cabinet press conference. It was very unnecessary. There's no need to come to the parliament with that view that you are the repository of all knowledge and the only policies and ideas that make sense are the ones that come from your side. And you're entitled to the support. I heard a minister yesterday say, after some opposition was given from our side, I heard a minister say how sensible the people were who put forward the proposals. And once something comes from people who are competent, we should just accept it. Only for her senior minister to get up and pretty much disagree with her in terms of the jury, the amendment to the jury act. All I want from the government is for them to accept that the legislative branch has a responsibility to question things coming from the executive. Whether you're on the opposition side or you're on the government side, if you're a member of the legislative branch, you have a responsibility to look critically at things that come from the executive, to question them, and where you agree, you go forward after doing that critical analysis. And where you disagree, you're entitled to put, you have not entitled, you have a responsibility to make known your disagreement. And that is how that is how debates work. And out of that process, then better policies will be formed and Jamaicans will have better outcomes.
My God, ladies and gentlemen, you hear that? We're on the last lap, but Mr. Newell has been very firm so far, making it very clear, ladies and gentlemen, what his experience has been in Parliament. Mr. Newell, we couldn't leave without asking you of your own experience in your constituency. What are some of the high and probably low moments you've experienced so far? What is it that you're trying to achieve in Central St. Mary? Couldn't leave without asking you that.
So we're trying to, and I note I have 6 minutes, and this is a 20-minute question. So we have a lot on our agenda for the constituency. Let me start with one of the more audacious projects that I am currently leading and driving. We're developing pretty much a new town center, which will be an expansion of Port Maria in the Ballards Valley area. A private investor has already invested in close to 300 acres of land. We've been able to get an investment house to come in to commit to investing in the first phase of what will be 500 brand new housing units in that space. We're in talks with a number of tertiary institutions about getting a campus in that space. We're in talks with a number of government entities that have been moving around the parish for some time with a view to getting them in the space. We already have a number of private sector businesses that have indicated an interest in either purchasing to build warehouse space for their business or renting warehouse space.
Oops. Mr. Newell? Lord God. I wonder where Mr. Newell gone. Ladies and gentlemen, you hear that so far? We're going to wait until Mr. Newell comes back. Probably it was just a short outage on his part. But we'll wait on him to come back. But so far, ladies and gentlemen, you heard those ideas. Mr. Newell has a lot of visionary ideas and plans that he wants to put forward. But what an interview. Mr. Newell is very firm, ladies and gentlemen. That's why it's good to have these one-on-one, you know. I wonder who cut off the light. But Mr. Newell, he's back. Yes. Mr. Newell, you were just talking about the plans.
Right, so we're developing that space. We expect to create a few thousand jobs during the construction phase, and we're anticipating at least 2,000 jobs consistently after. In the Paji area in Port Maria, we're getting a $200 million beach park coming out of the Tourism Enhancement Fund. And the designs are already in place for that. And we expect that later this year, some activity will start. We're anticipating, we're hoping that approval will be given for a $40 million project for an overhaul of the road leading into Robbins Bay, which is an area that we also believe we can create significant employment. That will be coming on stream pretty soon. We're putting together a project to build 2 mini stadiums in the constituency.
2 mini stadiums?
2 mini stadiums, one in Highgate, one in Port Maria.
All right, sir.
We're looking at how we can get that done. We have a number of roads that we have commitments to get on stream. I know constituents have been complaining about how much the roads have deteriorated lately. I'm awaiting approval from National Works Agency for some patching across the constituency, but I don't really celebrate patching. It is a temporary easing.
Yes, neither do I. Neither do I.
What I'm really working on is to see how we can get a total overhaul of a number of the roadways that have been in a bad state for some time. You know, I was very hopeful because in our manifesto we had committed to spending a minimum of $150 million per year on roads per constituency. That would have that idea would have temporarily died with our election loss. But we're pressing the government and holding accountable as much as possible to try and get as many of our roadways rehabilitated and rebuilt as we're able to do. And those are really the priorities. Water is another major issue. I've been pressing the minister weekly as it relates to the Jordan wells, which should release about 2 million gallons of water into the constituency, into Islington, Highgate, Port Maria per day. And what that will do, it will relieve some of the smaller systems that have been overstretched, that have been stretched, attempting to serve other areas. And so since we're developing Ballards Valley, residents there would be happy to know that we have them in mind in terms of running additional pipes into the areas there that don't currently have piping and getting water into their households. I also know the residents of Frontier Phase 2. We have been talking for some time about getting pipes into your community. Perry, when the PNP lost in 2007, that community was actually piped. A 100,000 gallon tank was placed at the top of the hill. And that tank is still at the top of the hill. And I've been trying since before being elected to get the Minister of Water to just take over that tank, talk with his colleague minister at Housing, take over that tank, since the NWC tank, which is beside it and smaller, is leaking. We have a brand new stainless steel tank that is not leaking, and it's just there sitting idly, which could supply the residents of Frontier Phase 2. If you pump water into it, you could gravity feed it into the community. But we're trying to get that on stream as well.
So what's preventing that from happening, though?
I can't give you a sensible explanation because I have not received one.
Lord of mercy.
I continue to advocate, and I'm very hopeful. Agriculture is another area that we're giving a lot of attention to. We are trying to do we have about 50,000 seedlings that are being prepared, and we have started distributing those to farmers as well. And if you're a farmer, I encourage you to just get in touch with the office so we can have a conversation about how we can provide you with some support. Because we want to grow your agriculture business.
Yes, most definitely. Mr. Newell,
I can continue, but those in a nutshell are some of the priority areas.
Yeah, man, and trust me, we are very impressed by your vision, sir, and we hope that the government will help where they can help.
so
Absolutely.
that we can enhance the lives of the people of this country. If there's one thing you could tell young people, though, Mr. Newell, before you go,
Yes.
I'm a young man, you're young, a lot of persons are on. What nugget would you leave before you go?
All right, before I leave the nugget, I'm leaving 2 motor vehicles at Horace Clark High School in another few weeks to support their auto mechanic program. So a student who goes into grade 7 and decides by grade 9 that they want to be a mechanic can leave with a level 2 certification from Hart. And I'm donating St. Mary High School as a strong alumni association and a strong track program. We're making a major contribution to their track and field program in another few weeks as well. In terms of young people, listen, I used to live up the road in Highgate. 5 of us in a 1-bedroom house on 1 bed. I've been able to, based on just my learning and the application of what I've learned, and the support of very kind people, family and strangers, mother, father, and strangers. I've been able to go to some of the finest universities across the globe, and I've been able to build a decent life for myself and my family. What I want to encourage you is it don't matter where you're from. Excellence is exceeding expectations. And I know that where you are from sometimes puts limitations on you. It put limitations even on Jesus when they ask, can any good come from Nazareth?
Come on, preacher.
I know people might ask if any good can come from Fraserwood or from Islington or from Chumulsworth or wherever it is you are from. I want you to develop the mindset that you are pursuing excellence and that you can exceed those expectations. And finally, I want you to whatever the hardships are, I want you to just remember how pearls are formed. That it is discomfort that forms a pearl. A grain of sand drops into a clam, into the sensitive area of the clam. And as a part of its defense mechanism, it releases some chemicals which harden over time. And Perry, sometimes the struggles harden us over time. But that hardness prepares you to go through anything. And when it gets signed off, you know, like how Nadia work for me, make me have a nice shirt sometime and a pretty shoes. And I start shine and I start glow. And I want to encourage you that if you just apply yourself and learn from the experience of others, you can become your own success story.
My God, ladies and gentlemen, all is well with Newell. That was MP from Central St. Mary, Mr. Omar Newell. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me. One love.
Blessings. Wow. That was a wonderful interview, ladies and gentlemen. That was a wonderful interview, ladies and gentlemen. You like that interview? You like that interview? You see the man go from Mr. Newell touch the Bible, you know. From him touch the Bible, you know, man. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Omar Newell. He recently proposed a private member's motion to protect Jamaica's critical utility infrastructure, telecommunications, electricity, and water. And the essence of this, ladies and gentlemen, is to really build a more resilient Jamaica. We cannot have persons just, destroying infrastructure, no firm sanctions or consequence for those actions. And while this is happening, people are suffering. So I welcome the motion. I welcome the motion. And I would like to see us all supporting the motion. Right? So we hope that will become a bill very and very soon. And we want to wish Mr. Newell all the best in his endeavors. Wow. I enjoyed that interview. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about 10 minutes out before we have to head out. But somebody saying that I'm echoing. Am I echoing? Hold on. Am I echoing just the same, ladies and gentlemen?
Let me know if I'm echoing. But I want to have some more interviews like those. As a matter of fact, Dr. Dawes, he tentatively agreed to be with us here on The Perspective next week. So we're looking forward to that interview. We're looking forward to that interview. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had Dr. Norman Scott, Comrade Leader, Integrity Boss, Mr. Mark Golding. Now we have MP Newell. We want to hear from the other MPs. If you are on the platform and you'd like to see some of your MPs coming on The Perspective to represent your voice and your views, yes, message me. Let's get them. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Now is the time for true advocacy. You hear the type of fight that is happening in Parliament. You heard from MP Newell. It's not me say it, you know. And it is so true. A lot of the time when persons should be advocated in Parliament, the government is shutting them down. And I want to end on this note. To you, government, it is unproductive for you to silence the opposition. You try to keep them out of the loop. To date, the opposition is not even a part of NARA. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And we're going to talk about unity. You're going to talk about unity. How can we make Jamaica better? When we continue this tribal mindset, Mr. Newell said it, the first thing you would want the government to address is this tribal mentality and this type of behavior. It's not bringing Jamaica any good. It is a disgrace. And when people speak up, the Auditor General is calling out ministries left, right, and center. And nobody to come and address it. The latest thing I saw from the Minister of Agriculture is deflecting, talking about who is directly responsible for it and how he's trying to distance himself. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody wants to be held accountable. Nobody wants to be held accountable anymore. Allow the people to represent their constituency. Allow the people to ask the necessary questions. Allow the people to speak up and to speak out. We're living in a time, ladies and gentlemen, where corruption is the order of the day. Mismanagement in our different ministries. $870 million in contracts given without proper oversight. You understand what I'm saying? And who is to be held? Who is to be held accountable for those things? It's a disgrace. And people want to talk about, unity. I hear it from the head. The office of the Prime Minister will tell you readily, ladies and gentlemen, that we need to unite. We need to end partisan operations and actions. But the same people who are asking for unity and the total annihilation of partisan operations, the same people who are doing it. Doesn't make any sense. And while these people are playing dolly house in Parliament, the JLP, the Andrew Wellness-led administration, people are suffering. You hear what MP Newell said? There is a brand new tank that is there. Listen to this. The MP said that there is a tank there. All they need is for the proper help to put it up so that gravity can disseminate water to different areas. And they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. Why you don't want to do it? Is it because it's Central St. Mary's PMP place? Why you don't want to send the proper resource, the necessary resources that can improve the lives of the people? I said this last night on a platform, and I'm going to say it again. The JLP, they are still in election mode. These people want to secure a fourth term. I want persons to understand these people, right? These people, they've already started to campaign. And because of this campaign mentality that this administration has, they've lost sight of what it really means to be leaders. Leadership, ladies and gentlemen, does not look on the party that you support. Leadership looks at the need of the people and do what is right by the people, for the people. The moment you descend to a place where you're unable, right, to put aside your political preferences and your grudges and grievances and do what is right by the people, you've lost the very essence of what it means to be a good leader in this country. And that in and of itself, ladies and gentlemen, is problematic. Thank you, Carol. So I say this as I close, because we're going to pray and go. Of course, we had an interview, couldn't take any calls today. But I'm going to say this before I go. Ladies and gentlemen, let us understand the seriousness of what we are experiencing as a country. As a country, ladies and gentlemen, we've allowed some of these leaders to take advantage of the people of this country because they're playing politics. It is not right. It is a criminal act in my book, and it is bringing disrepute to Jamaica, to the people of this country, and to everybody who looks to Jamaica as their saving grace. You think is everybody want to fly out and live overseas? A lot of persons believe that Jamaica can be the place to raise families, do business, thrive and flourish. It is possible. But we live under an administration who drives people out of this nation. No wonder brain drain is so high in this country. Because there's a lack of willingness to act. It's not that the resources aren't there. The money is there. The resources are there. There's a lack of willingness to do right by the people. It doesn't matter what constituency it is. As the Prime Minister of the country, you are the Prime Minister for Jamaicans, not the Prime Minister for the Jamaica Labour Party or Labour Rights. What are we doing? What is it that we are really accepting in this country? Huh? The election gone long time. No love for the country. No love for the people of this nation. No love for the black, green and gold. The only love we see from this administration is the love for the people who run around in green clothes. Listen to me, man. Let us stop this nonsense. Stop playing the politics. Stop that foolishness. It is damaging the very foundation of what our politics was built upon. You know how politics in Jamaica started? You know how representational politics started in Jamaica? You know how the PNP started, ladies and gentlemen? It was born out of a need. Let us not forget the reason why our politicians are in those positions, ladies, and they're not there to grandstand and show off on people. Mr. Newell mentioned the arrogance. And readily, persons could call the name of those who would believe are arrogant in our parliament. Don't come and represent the people and no high horse. It is a disgrace. And I will continue to speak up. I will continue to amplify the voice of those who are doing right by the people of this country. Let us pray. Father, we give you thanks for your mercies. We give you thanks for your grace. We give you thanks that you are God all by yourself. We give you thanks for today's session. And we pray, mighty God, that you'll continue to bless the people who continues to support
those who are on the live tonight. I pray that you'll touch your households, their children, everything attached to them, business and otherwise. Let your name be glorified. We're at the middle of this work week, and I pray that you'll give us the strength to go on another day and another day. We give you thanks, mighty God, for the MP who came on to share with us. We pray for him and his family, his son, his wife, everything that is attached to him, his constituency, his plans, his ideas, his vision. We pray, mighty God, that they will come to life and that the good intentions in his heart will come to fruition. Lord, I pray for the government and the opposition, that somehow, mighty God, that this great political divide that we've been experiencing over the years will come together and do right by the people. Many persons are in the West, mighty God, still suffering, still homeless, still hungry. My God, help us, mighty God, to see the bigger picture. For if we should have a national anthem that is a prayer to you and a national pledge that says before God and all mankind, then we must do what is right by the people. Lord, we ask that you'll weed out the corruption in this nation. From the top, come right down. Every crooked place. Everybody, mighty God, who is not falling in line, who is out of order. I pray, mighty God, that you will take them out. Weed them out. Eradicate them. Because Jamaica must see a brighter future. We have our children who are depending on us to stand so that we can pave a path that is clean, a path that will cause them to experience true prosperity, not a facade. Not a facade, not wishful thinking, but true prosperity. So help us to play our part as we advance the welfare of the whole human race. These and other mercies we ask. In Jesus' name. Somebody say amen. I believe in my heart that the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come, ladies and gentlemen. Don't lose hope. Stand. Be sober, be vigilant, but be positive. The best is yet to come. Change is going to happen. I believe it. 2026 is the year of exposure. I believe God is going to be raising up some leaders. We see some of them already. Mr. Newell is one of them. God is going to be raising up some leaders. God-fearing people. People who are willing to be led. Who are willing to be humble. And we will see change in this country. God must get his glory. This is the perspective. I am Perry Cummings Jr. See you tomorrow at 6 p.m. God bless you. Bye-bye. I believe in my heart that the best is yet to come.
I said I'm happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his hand. Yes, mommy, I see you. Yes, the journey's almost over. Shut up. And the battle is nearly won. And I have a feeling. I have a feeling in my heart. The best is yet to come. Fly go it. Over there, so wanna ready to get up, wanna get up now, man. Wanna get up now, man. I feel mad in this place. Let's go. I am happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his. Over there, so I said the journey's almost over. I know the battle is nearly won, and I have a feeling in my heart the best is yet. Come on, church. I said the best is yet to come. When I walk through heaven's gates, yeah, I said the first time I'll see Jesus. I can hardly wait. And he showed me to a mansion and said, child, this is your home. And I have a feeling in my heart. You know this one? Listen, shut. Tell me who made the angels sing, and tell me who made the joy bells, and tell me who is the King of Kings. Nobody but mine. Come on, try go me. Well, yes, he made the world, he made the sea. Oh, fasten them together with his. Come on, under his control. throne and under his command. Nobody but. Tell me who made the angels sing, or tell me who made the joy bells. Like a bill, emancipate.
Oh, you know. I want to hear the angels singing. I want to be in that number. I want to hear that trumpet song. We have done now. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear archangel. Oh, I want to hear when my name is called. I want to hear. Everybody know. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. Watch out now. I want to see the angel marching. I want to be in that number. I want to hear. I want to hear that trumpet song. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear. God bless you now. I want to hear when my name is called. I want to hear. Everybody do so. Everybody do so. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be. Get something and wave it. Get something and wave it. Get something and. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be happy. Walk out, Christian, walk out, Christian. I only live my life to please. Send me rocking for the road and the star on my phone. I only live my life to please. Live up my life. Come on, man, we have done, man. Everybody, so. Live up my life. Live for Jesus. Mrs. Silent Night. What a holy night. But Virgin Mother and Child, holy, so tender. Talk to me now. But sweetly, God bless you, God bless you. Let me tell some people, I know one prayer we pray. We pray in the night and we pray in the day.